I've talked about a few of these ground rules as we've gone through the syllabus, but at the end of the syllabus, I'm actually going to really elaborate certain of them on certain of these topics. One on online participation. And just keep in mind whether this is a fully online course or it's an in-class course, and I've given you the option for some personal reasons that you might have expressed to me to complete certain parts of it online. I want you to understand that online participation works exactly the way in course, um, in class participation works. You're getting assignments that you have to hand in. There are going to be writing assignments, which would be the equivalent of having an in class writing assignment. All of these things must be handed in, and we give you a certain amount that you can miss out on. But we have a rule. There's the WU rule. That is, in order to get a completed grade and not get a WU, an unofficial withdrawal, you have to complete a all the work, or it's usually 80 or 85% of the assignments, which is the equivalent of just missing 6 hours of class. Really, I encourage you to do it. It's a very bad idea to end up with WUs on your record, and if you're on financial aid, which most people are in the school, it's going to have a serious effect. The next thing I want to mention is what I call academic, or what CUNY calls academic integrity. There's a link to the policy. If you're not familiar with it, don't make sure to read the policy. You or the work that you're doing in this class, you are when you're handing it in, you're handing it in as your own work that you have done, not that somebody else has done. If you go and you steal something and you steal some money and you pay for something else with it, you haven't paid for it. The same thing, handing in work that you haven't done is the equivalent of stealing somebody else's intellectual property, and it's not going to help you in your education. I take this very seriously. Where it comes up quite often in my courses is that students will hand in things that are partially copied from various places. I do run essays and papers through the plagiarism checks. Plagiarism is, copying other stuff without noting it. In all in all of the essays and papers you hand in, you need to note sources. If you're using my PowerPoint slides, you need to note that this is coming from my PowerPoint. You're getting this from my PowerPoint slides. And by the way, usually when I'm asking you to write an essay in a paper, most of the paper is going to be you're explaining things in your own words. That is not in somebody else's words. So if you're taking things from various sources, you're probably better off looking at them, reading it, putting it down, and writing it in your own words, because it will not have not very many happy consequences if you're handing in other people's work, or if you are cheating on the objective tests. And I have caught students cheating on the objective test. And in fact, if there's good reason for me to think that you're cheating with somebody else, I reserve the right to examine you orally to see that that was your work that you were handing in. Next topic, accessibility. The accessibility services at KCC handles all issues regarding special considerations for various disabilities. If you have one, you need to go to the Accessibility Services office and you need to get some notice to me that you're entitled to special consideration, and I will certainly abide by any rules that the Accessibility Services sets up. And just finally, class ground rules. It's your responsibility to make sure that you know what's going on in the course, that you have somebody else to talk to. That is, I am not the person to ask what happened when you missed class. You should have somebody, at least one, probably several people's, at least their emails address, so you can get in touch with them to find out what happened, because it's your responsibility. A lot of the stuff will be on Blackboard, but if it's not a fully online course, not all of it will be on Blackboard. Make sure to check with somebody else, even if it's online, an online course. Make sure to check with somebody else, and make sure you know how to get to Blackboard. I have a link for it. Make sure you know how to get to the IT help desk. And just final a note on grading. I mentioned as I went through the grades, F and D may be assigned when you're violating the CUNY academic integrity policy, and that's at my discretion. And remember, all this stuff is supposed to be your own work, and then there's the grade of WU, which you could end up with if you do not hand in enough of the work. Figure 80% of the work, and that means taking all of the exams and handing in all of the essays and or papers depending on the requirements of your course.